So hey everybody, I'm going to talk to you today about DDR Prime. So DDR Prime is an oil that, unless you've talked with me a lot, you may not know about the benefits of DDR Prime. It's called the cellular complex blend or the cellular DNA repair blend, depending on when it was produced. This one says cellular complex, but when I had originally done some research, what got my attention with DDR Prime is that they called it the cell regeneration or the DNA repair blend. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why that caught my eye. But DDR Prime is an oil that it's hard to talk about compliantly because the reasons that it was developed were to target really, really serious illnesses. And I found that out because I actually talked to Dr. Hill and I talked to some of the people in doTERRA who've been in doTERRA for a long time at some different events that I was at when I was doing some research. But do some of your own research on the oils that are in DDR Prime. It's made up of frankincense, wild orange, lemongrass, thyme, clove, summer savory, and neroli. And so take a look at some of the ways that those help the body and your cells, and you'll see kind of why that putting that together, it made it a real powerhouse. And in fact, I had read somewhere, which is when I started to kind of do some research on this, was that Dr. Hill at one point had made a comment somewhere that if he only was going to take one essential oil, use one essential oil, it would be DDR Prime. And so that kind of sent me on a path to find out why, because there were some other things going on that I needed, was trying to find some answers for. But when I look in my research book, what they're basically saying DDR Prime, the top uses for DDR Prime are for supporting your thyroid, supporting if you've got addiction issues, to rub that on the bottoms of your feet. It supports that process. Immune support. It's an antioxidant. It's a liver detox, and it's also good for massaging it over just sore, achy areas. It also supports the process that we want our body to go through of having our cells regenerate. Our cells are supposed to be born, do their thing for a while, and then die off. And we're not, because of oxidative stress and because of nutrition and other issues, our bodies aren't always operating at the highest capacity, and that's when we get in trouble, and that's when we have illnesses that happen because our body's in a weakened state. And so we want that process to go along smoothly, and DDR Prime, because of the oils that are in it, helps to move that process along. So some of the body systems that are at play here are the cardiovascular system, the nervous system, the immune system, muscles and bones, and skin and hair. So it's a fabulous overall oil to use on a regular basis. So it comes in a bottle. Now this is a 30 milliliter bottle. I bought a bunch of them when they were cutting down the size because I was worried about not being able to get it. We use it a lot. So it now comes in just a regular 15 milliliter, 250 drop bottle. I think it's about $28. But it's also available in a soft gel. So if you're somebody who, why it's great to get the soft gels is because it doesn't taste that great. And so I take it in the oil form in capsules, number one, because we also make roller bottles for my granddaughter, and I'll explain about that in a minute, but the taste doesn't taste good. So I add it with turmeric and some other things that also don't taste good, and that's what I kind of do as an everyday thing for me. But if you want it to be more convenient, my husband takes the capsules in the DDR Prime just for convenience. He won't take doTERRA's supplements, and he's not a great eater, and he has had some issues over the years with some serious medical issues. And so I said to him, would you at least take the DDR Prime just so that your body's cells are getting some support as we get older, because both of us are 65. So there's two ways to take it. So why I use DDR Prime is that why we started using it is I have a granddaughter who has an issue that's a DNA issue, and it was devastating when we got her diagnosis, and she was the first child diagnosed in the United States. Her name is Molly, and if you're on Facebook with me, you've seen she's the most beautiful little girl. But Molly had this condition, and it was a pretty hopeless diagnosis. And so as a grandmother, like there's nothing I could do to help them. And so I just started kind of looking into just doing some research, because part of the issue is physical, part of the issue is cognitive delays. And they didn't give us very much hope, and there's no research being done because she was the first one diagnosed. Now that's changing a little bit as time's gone on. But I started doing some research about cognitive delays, and just looking online for things. And I had read about Dr. Hill saying, about him taking, if he was going to take one thing, it would be DDR Prime. And so I wanted to find out why. So I was on a mission. And so Sarah actually was down at a leadership convention shortly after that, and she actually talked to Dr. Hill and asked him about that. And I was somewhere where I saw Justin Harrison, who was like the first doTERRA advocate, and I said to him, like, I heard him do a video on YouTube about DDR Prime, and it was kind of non-compliant, but a little bit still sketchy because it was after the FDA had shut things down. And I said to him, like, tell me why DDR Prime was developed. And what he told me was it's for a super serious issue that people get when their cells are, and I'm not going to say it on the video because this is on video, but do some research about what frankincense does to our cells and what conditions it helps with. And so that, I was just like, wow, that's the power of DDR Prime. And as I continued to do some research, I started finding sites that talked about kids with cognitive delays, or kids with suffering from being on the spectrum, not suffering, but who are on the spectrum, and that they were using DDR Prime and they were seeing significant differences in their communication. And so I was really excited about that. And so I went to my kids and I said, hey, Molly's issue is a DNA issue, and this is called the DNA repair blend. Would you let me make a roller bottle for her? And would you use it on her, on the bottoms of her feet and down her spine a couple times a day? And so they love me and they trust me, and they agreed to do that. And a few weeks in, Kevin came back to me and he said, hey, Mom, I don't know if it's Molly's in a new school. And at that time, Molly was probably 4. I don't know if she's in a new school. I don't know if it's her new therapist or it's a physical therapist, or whether it's this oil, but her language is exploding. Now, we didn't expect her to have, they didn't give us much hope for her being very able to communicate. And so they started using the oil on a more regular basis. And what they kept noticing was that every time they used it, they were like improvements in how she was communicating. And so that became, and then since that time, I looked up some other oils that also target the brain and supporting the brain, because that's what essential oils do. They're not miracle cures. What they do is they help our body do what our body wants to do, which is repair itself or heal itself. And so they've been using this oil on Molly for maybe 2 years now. We've added some other things since that time. And I just keep researching cognitive delays or speech delays, or kids who aren't communicating. And we're finding other oils that we have now put in that blend with the DDR Prime. We've put Melissa in, and we've put copaiba, and we put turmeric. Oils that are also targeting the central nervous system, which is just making her stronger and also supporting her immune system at the same time. And so we've now shared that combination with other kids who've been diagnosed with what's called SPG47, and they're seeing differences as well. And I've given the oils to people whose kids are on the spectrum, and they've noticed difference in communication. And so for me, I can't really explain it scientifically, but I just know that it's different and things are better because of her using this blend. And really all it's doing is supporting her brain. So there's other ways, so if you have other issues that are going on, in your body, and maybe you want to add something to your Lifelong Vitality Pack, or maybe you're somebody who's not taking the Lifelong Vitality Pack for whatever reason, but this might be some way to support you, support your cells that can't hurt you and can only help you. In fact, my friend Darlene, she swears by DDR Prime for her issues that she had with, she had some broken bones and things, and the pain has been helped a lot by using DDR Prime. So that's just something different, something different to look at. But that's DDR Prime. So it comes in a capsule, it comes in a liquid, and it's something that could make a huge difference in your life if you do it consistently. And that's the thing. What we've realized with Kevin and Angela and Molly is when they use this consistently on her, that's when her therapists come back to them and say, what have you done differently today? Because Molly's different. Or maybe if they use it at night or something. So you have to use these consistently. You can't just use them one time and say, oh my gosh, it didn't help me. If you've got an issue that you're hoping will be helped, like a cell regeneration type issue, you need to be using this on a regular, consistent basis, not just once a day. So just remember that. So for the recipe that we use for Molly for cognitive support is 20 drops of DDR Prime, 10 drops of copaiba, and then 5 drops of melissa oil, turmeric, and there's one other one, and I can't remember. If you'd like that information, just let me know, okay? So have a great night, have a great day, and we'll talk to you at the next video.